Okay, let's go. Happy Wednesday. This is a video for, not for this, but this is going to help me get through. This is Hanukkah jelly, or Manuka honey candy. It says it right there. I'm still getting through this. So if you hear candy run around, I'm not just being casual. It's so that I can breathe. Considering the thumbnail that I haven't made yet and the title, which I haven't thought about yet, this is kind of an ironic giveaway item. But it's kind of perfect in my mind. It must be the autism, I don't know. This is a Liquid Lynx Venom. It's over $1,000. It's hard to find nowadays because they don't make them anymore. This one works perfectly. I just don't use it because I buy other cables. And I usually use 1, 2, 3 IMs at a time and then just move along and then move past everything, the cable. You can see the Venom thing right there. So if you comment below this video and you're a subscriber, hit the like button, thumbs up, comment. If you're not a subscriber, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? And you could maybe score. Listen and drink the magnificence. Somehow that's perfect considering everything I'm about to say. Because that doesn't make any sense. One more time. Listen and drink the magnificence. I can't wait. So if you want this, because you can't afford $1,000 plus cable, or you would never ever in your life spend so much money, but you wouldn't mind having one, and you want to flip it, by all means. I will pin this to the top of the comment section, 7 to 10 days, like I've been doing recently, because some people just can't find the Unbox channel, which is called the Limited or Extra now, that channel. The person for the High Ds and the Horizon, he's pinned to the top. He's been contacted. Everybody's been contacted. I just got to send stuff out once I'm not in, I'm like self kind of quarantine right now. Or I'm suggested to do that because of my condition, though I'm better now. But moving right along. That photograph is like a meme. It's been going around for years. It still completely applies, though, as you can see right here, because all of these IMs on here are less than 2 years old. And that image is years old, much more than that. And I want to explain to you very quickly what that image means if you can't grasp it immediately. And expand on it slightly, because this is just talking about the cable value versus the internal, which I will tell you is grossly overstated because I've done lots of collaborations. I've talked about the internal wiring and how about upgrading that and how much would that cost. And the PETA, the pain in the ass of doing that, is one thing, but the cost is really nothing. So anybody that claims that they're investing a lot of money in doing these extra cables on the inside of the buds is talking out of the butt. It costs really nothing. And if you were working with a cable company, of course it would cost you nothing. It wouldn't cost them really anything. Let's talk about this cable first. This is another one that I'm going to give away during probably Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's a $3,500 Breeze Audio. This right here, this little cable right here, it's cost $900. That was used. I'm pretty stupid. So keep that in mind while I'm saying this, that I actually buy these cables, but I don't think that they do really anything. I just like to buy it. And I will never tell you that you're not getting something that I'm getting because you don't have a good cable. I've never said that, and I will never say that. So keep that in mind. I do buy these cables. I just recommend that unless you're rich, you really probably shouldn't. And I'll give you some reasons why. So let's say you've got a cable like this, and they're talking about it online, and they're talking about how they used to talk about cryogenically, like freezing the cables, and it's gold and silver wound with copper, and they're all supposed to do carefully considered combination to give you something, which it sounds like BS because it is. But let's take that a step further. Before you reach this carefully considered combination, you've got to go through a literal problem. When you come out of your source, before you hit the carefully considered combo, you've got to go through this other material, which is soldered to the cable with hopefully something of high quality. But it could be just lead, it might be silver, it might be something else. But there's a literal semi-break in the chain before we even get to the carefully considered combination within the cable. That would seem to be an issue, right? No? To my brain, which is, again, Asperger's, that seems like a problem. It seems like we couldn't get everything claimed from this if before we get to it, we're already kind of impacting the quality of the signal. But no? You don't think so? Okay. All right. Let's keep going. So after going through that first point and then getting into the area of where these carefully considered combination of cables is going, we get to another termination, which is another solder point. And look at these right here. This is a 3000. Both of these are like this. I bought this cable. That failed extremely quickly. We have a second solder point, little teeny solder point. And then this carefully considered combo of materials has got to go through these little 2 pins or pentacon or whatever it is. So the cable itself and its design seems to be a problem. On both of its bookends, it's containing solder on both ends of this cable, which would seemingly maybe almost neuter every possible benefit of the carefully considered combination. I would love to see a cable company talk about how they considered the solder and how that impacts and how they fought that impactor. I doubt they would get into that. So do you follow what I'm saying so far? We've got a cable, and before we get into it, we're already hitting a solder point, and then once we do that and go through the cable, to get out of it, we've got to hit another solder point. That doesn't seem to be ideal at all. That seems like that would take some of the magic out. Now we hit the actual earphones, and we've got these little teeny, these are all less than 2 years old, and these are priced from $140 to $3,400, this one right here. And I just grabbed these. There's other ones that are downstairs where I have a big, like a vice grip. They all have the same little teeny wires on the inside. So you see, this is where we're talking about the mean, where the cable reaches the little teeny wires. Again, all of these are less than 2 years old, and they're from $60 to $3,400. And then you hit, with this carefully considered combination after going through 2 solder points, you hit these little teeny wires. Surely that's got to have some impact. No? Is it just me? Really? 2 solder points. And then we hit here, which is another solder point. And then the drivers. We hit a solder point. Are you not seeing it? Now we're at the meme. Now we're saying that this is kneecapped by this, or that, or this. I'm saying that actually, before you even get out of here, you've already hit 2 strikes to the knee with a baseball bat. Before you even get out of here, I don't care what company makes it, you've already hit 2 solder points. Then you hit here. And some of you thinking, bro, you are on the spectrum. No, yes, that's true, but that's really not the point here. There are people out there that are still doing videos for cables and talking about how they're beneficial. The resistance and stuff like that, but that could be a $5 cable or a $5,000 cable. There's really no correlation between the resistance being lower or higher and that being exclusive to more expensive cables. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Expensive cables don't do anything. It just makes you feel good, and they might actually be detrimental to the IMs you're using because of the amount of resistance that cable has versus what is ideal for the particular type of earbuds you have. So it could actually be the other thing. So forget about cables. Do they help or do nothing? They could actually maybe bother your IMs, which is kind of wild because somebody out there is listening to my video right now with a very expensive cable with maybe expensive IMs, and probably, but just by chance and numbers and percentages, they're using a cable that's actually not ideal for what they're listening to. But that's how much this hobby is like abstract art and less like science with benchmarks. It happens all the time, and with cables, it's just looking you right in the face. That's it. This is a hustle. I do it because I can. And I know that sometimes the cables that I'm using might not be even as good as the stock ones, but I think I can maybe sometimes pick that up in my brain. Not because I have great ears, but just because I think so. You know, perception is reality in this hobby. Like I said, abstract art more than science. People hardly talk about music in this hobby, which is, these are transducers for audio, for God's sakes. So if you buy cables, number one, if anybody ever says you're not getting what I'm getting because you don't have my cable, my expensive cable, don't ever listen to them again, because that's just BS without breaking it down for you and talking about the resistance of the stock cable and what they're using and how it's proven and measurable, if they don't give you any like details, objective data, then just totally ignore them, like forever. Forever ignore them. Do you want to buy expensive cables? Go for it. I do that. I will continue to do that. Do you have to? No.